Welcome to the Astrid Mueller Show. My name is Astrid Mueller. I got well from breast cancer stage 4, and I wrote the book Permission to Sparkle. I'm on a mission to inspire people around the world what's possible. Today, I'm here with a special Integrative Wellness Leader Talk series where I interview leaders on what's possible in wellness, and we get to discover ideas to support ourselves: body, mind, emotion, spirit, soul. Get ready for an inspiring interview and to discover what's possible. Welcome, everyone. I am so excited to have a super inspiring interview for you all with a very special leader in the integrative wellness field. Her name is Tania Kazi, and she studied positive psychology at Harvard University with Dr. Tal Ben-Shahar as her professor. She later went on to obtain certifications in yoga and meditation. And leaving her corporate job, she decided to pursue a path of holistic healing and worked for yoga studios in Manhattan while teaching global yoga and wellness retreats. Today, she runs the yoga and meditation department at Happiness Science Academy. Don't you love that? An institute dedicated to healing and well-being, backed by scientifically proven methods. You could say she is someone who has dedicated her life to mental, physical, and spiritual health through the study of positive psychology, yoga, and meditation. Welcome, Tania Kazi. I am so happy to have you here.
Astrid, I'm so happy to be here with you.
Super honored. So tell us a bit more. You have this wonderful kaleidoscope of a history where you studied at Harvard, and then you went on to actually continue studying embodiment practices. You went to happiness science. You do yoga for so many years. Tell us a bit, what did you do at Harvard and what inspired you to get to today? That's a big loaded question.
I'm going to have to dig into the history for this one.
Yes.
But, like all driving factors in our lives, it's always something that we're trying to resolve, make peace with, understand, and demystify for ourselves. Mm-hmm. That often, sparkle our curiosity.
Yep.
So I was actually supposed to study international relations, and that's what I signed up for. But I had to take an elective class. And I already had a bachelor's degree from Pakistan, which is where I was born. Mm-hmm. And I studied economics and behavioral psychology. And then I went to the United States. I moved there at a young age and was looking for work. And was told that, I needed to do 2 years of college education to get a equivalent university degree as per the U.S. metrics. And so I was living in Boston with my ex-husband at the time, and I thought, why not? And I got into Harvard, and I was looking for which elective to take. So I walked into this class that was really popular, and it was Dr. Tal Ben-Shahar's positive psychology class, and it was at the Seaver Hall at Harvard University, and it was one of the most packed classes. You had no place to sit. You had barely any space once you walked in. They were like, I think in the history of Harvard, that has been the most popular class, up to 800 students.
Wow. Okay.
And then I heard Dr. Ben-Shahar speak, and I was like, oh my God, I need to study this. So the elective ended up becoming the main focus of my entire undergraduate, and I'm so grateful for it because I had a background in behavioral psychology already.
Yeah.
And so I think why the curiosity led me to study psychology was because I really wanted to understand why people behave the way they behave, why I behave the way I behave.
Yeah.
I lost my dad at a very young age. I was a teenager, and he was diagnosed with cancer. And back in the day, cancer research was not where it is now. So the drugs were very rudimentary and almost a little, archaic. But he still had a good 10-year run even after chemotherapy, but then eventually succumbed because it started spreading. So I think, and he was my hero. He really was the center of my
Mhm.
world. And so that kind of set me off on a search of what is love? Why is it so impermanent? What is pain? Why does it persist? What are the obstacles? Why are they there? And I also, in fact, one of the courses I took at Harvard was also world religions because I was really looking for God as well.
Wow.
I was,
Okay.
I was deeply hungering for answers in myself
Nice.
and in the universe. Um,
Nice.
yeah. And then, I did have a corporate job in New York City, but I started taking a yoga class at the behest of my mother. She suggested, she's like, I think you're really stressed in your work and you should consider
Nice.
exploring some yoga. And when you're South Asian, yoga is kind of like the medicine for all ailments and illnesses.
Hmm.
That's what's first prescribed before anything else is. And so I went for a yoga class and I was very lucky. And I kind of feel like my father's blessings and presence has guided me in my spiritual journey because I've just met the most incredible teachers. So I did a yoga teacher training, and then I realized, oh my God, I feel so great. Why would I
Nice.
do anything else with my life?
Nice. I love this.
Yeah. And then I just quit my corporate job and dedicated my life to studying and understanding yoga, not to be a teacher, but just to know myself better.
Hmm. Awesome. Wow. I love that you really brought the explorer spirit to then discover all this magic, right? I find that's a big thing that I also mention in my book, and like that I see with the integrative wellness network that we have. When we're curious, we find opportunities and
Yeah.
possibilities. So I love that you're really role modeling this, really leaning in. And I love that your mom guided you to wellness also, saying that you were stressed out, go take a yoga class. That's perfect, right? And now that's what you stand for, right?
I never imagined, but I had such a brilliant relationship with my professor when I was studying with him, that we stayed in touch on and off, and I kind of
Oh,
updated.
nice.
Yeah, I kind of kept updating him on my, growth and evolution. And then when he left Harvard after years of teaching there and set up his own Academy of Happiness Science, because he had been doing so much research
Yep.
in the science of happiness and had so much data that it was enough to start an entire institute around.
That's
Um,
amazing.
yeah, and then, several years later, we were having a conversation, and he said, I don't think there can be any mental health without physical health. And we cannot disregard our spiritual reality, our intellectual reality, our
Right.
relational reality, our emotional reality. So I really want to build a yoga program. And by then, I had already been teaching in Manhattan for over 10 years. And then we brainstormed and we created this thing called Spire Yoga.
Nice. Together with your former professor.
Yes.
That's so wonderful.
Yeah.
Congratulations. That's also a really cool change maker path opportunity that you really stepped into a leader role yourself.
Yeah. And Astrid, I wonder if we ever choose our path or does our path choose us? Because I kind of feel like I've been a bit on cruise control and now I'm like running an entire yoga and meditation department at a university because Happiness Studies Academy is affiliated with Centenary University in New Jersey, which is an accredited university. And suddenly I'm, in an academic position teaching yoga. And it just all happened. It just, life is wild like that.
It is wild. I find that it happens when we follow our heart and when we truly listen, and things just come to us, right? And so then you probably look back, you're like, wait, how did that happen? How did
How did I get here?
Yeah, I actually challenge you. I don't think you were on autopilot because you're so connected with spirit and your guidance, right? You probably kept following your path and then it opens up naturally. That's probably what happened, don't you think?
Yes, I
Yes. Yes.
agree.
So I want to backtrack to something at the beginning. So not everybody, including myself, is fully aware of all the wonderful aspects of positive psychology. You described this really intriguing class and saying it was super packed. So take yourself back to that moment where you entered this class and you were like, wow, I want to change everything I was doing so far. I want to pursue this. What was it in that class that really compelled you and drew you in?
I realized soon after the first couple of lectures with Tal Ben-Shahar that the research that he was doing on the mind and behavior and the nervous system was giving us as students the information that you're not doomed to live the life that you thought you were programmed to live. Like, when we're young and we're raised in families that have their own limitations and their strengths, and, when children are super young, we absorb a lot from our environment, our society, our culture, even like behavior patterns and like anger issues. And so much is really coded in our DNA, I feel. But that there had been enough research done already at that point which suggested that the brain is neuroplastic.
Nice. Yes, yes, yes.
And then you can change the grooves in your brain. You're not doomed to feeling a certain way because that's kind of the behaviors you picked up.
Yep.
That you actually have a lot of agency.
Yes.
And
Yes.
that really spoke to me. And
That's
it
so
was just like a slam dunk. When I got these messages, I was like, oof. And I'm someone who adores having responsibility, weird as that sounds, but I like being responsible for what I'm experiencing, what I'm feeling, how I'm showing up.
Mhm.
And I understand there's a lot of flow in life, and a lot of times it's good to be on autopilot as well. But we also have free will. We also have agency. We can take certain small or big decisions that can, move the needle in a certain way. I feel like the destination may already be marked to quite an extent, but we could take an interesting path to the destination. So that was it. I think that those messages really resonated at a young age,
That's
and
so
I was like,
powerful. I
yeah.
love it. I love it. And so, fast forward. So, in today's times and over all the many years that you already worked with corporate clients and leaders, and you did a lot of work, international workshops, and so forth. So, if you take this concept of you really have agency and we have a neuroplasticity where we can change how we're thinking, what do you say, especially in today's manic world? And I know we talked about this before we came on, right? Especially leaders, and so many of us have a lot on their plates, and sometimes it seems impossible to step out of it, and you have to do all these things and commitments and so forth. So how do you shift out of that? How do you come back to your agency, knowing that all that you know now?
That's such a brilliant question, and it's so important for the times that we're living in. I
Yes.
feel that on one level, life has gotten easier for us because now we have access to great teachers, great coaches, great information, literature that can help us take a pause and learn the ways to rewire the brain.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Meanwhile, also, everything else has really sped up a lot.
Mm-hmm.
you know
Yes.
and while I think technology is brilliant and important, like all things, it has a positive side and a negative side. The negative side being, or the challenge of technology being, that it really has enslaved the human mind to quite an extent. But I think even more so, what these kinds of times require leaders to do, organizations to do, teams to do, and individuals to do is to learn the ways to reclaim time for themselves.
Nice.
I think we really have to get rooted in our humanness, you know.
Nice.
Um, my professor says something absolutely beautiful. He said, yes, it's the age of artificial intelligence, but I think we need another kind of AI, not just artificial
Oh,
intelligence. We need the AI, which is appreciative inquiry, which is
oh, that's really cool. I love it.
really like ask yourself what makes your heart sing or what you need in this moment. And it's not another email to answer. It's not another task to do for the most part. It's actually, gosh, I just want to like rest and breathe and have a moment and create a little space. That knowledge combined with what I learned as a meditation teacher and when I got my meditation certifications, uh, it was like the perfect layer because it really helped me understand and create tools and skills that help people expand time, that help people create,
Nice.
islands of sanity in their
That's
life.
awesome. That sounds super magical. So let's lean into that for a little bit. So take one example from your workshops or private clients, like where you helped somebody who felt so frazzled and like they didn't have time and like, oh my God, I cannot book a coach. I have too many things on my plate. I can barely take 5 minutes. I've heard people talk like that, right? I can barely take 5 minutes a day for myself. I'm like, my mind is blown when I hear things like that. So how do you get them started and how did you expand time with them or help them do it?
This question reminds me of an old Buddhist story, which is really cute, in which this person wants to, and you've probably heard it because it's been doing the rounds on the internet, but a student goes to the Buddhist monk and says, teach me how to meditate. I don't have time to meditate.
I've never heard that. I love it.
And the monk is like, I think something like you need an hour a day to meditate. And he's like, I absolutely do not have an hour a day to meditate. He's like, well, in that case, you need 2 hours to meditate. And it's really that. It's like a hard shift in your gear. It's like saying, well, the fact that I'm overwhelmed and I'm inundated and I feel like I have no time, recognize that this is your life you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a pattern that probably duplicates itself in other aspects of life as well, where you say, oh, when I get this done, I'll have time to breathe. Well, guess what? It doesn't work like that. We have to make time to breathe while we're in the battlefield, while we're showing up, while we're doing all the things we have to do and managing the tasks and administrative stuff and dealing with our employees and all of that. There are no second chances. This is not a dress rehearsal. This is the main stage. So within this space, we have to recognize that we have to have a lot of personal sovereignty.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's one of the things that gets taken away from us when we're in schools and colleges. Oddly, the education system at a very young age sort of teaches us to be enslaved to the system. Not really like reclaim moments for yourself and now with the whole texting culture, if the text comes in, you feel compelled to respond immediately, so I think the challenges are super real, and we're definitely in a time where, it's almost like we're just caught up in this wave, but somewhere we need the intervention and the loop needs to be broken, because otherwise we'll just get swept up, and then we wake up one day and we're too old, too tired, too broken. And then to realize then that I need time for myself and I need to, or, a disease knocks and diagnosis knocks on the door, which I really think is a very spiritual thing when that happens. I really think a diagnosis is almost like a little whisper from the divine or from the universe saying, hey, I need you to love yourself a little bit more.
Nice.
Yeah.
I want to pick up on that again later. I'm taking notes. We're talking. Let's go back to that example. Like picture one of the clients, or I love how you describe the background and how we're challenged in today's times and with we need an intervention, right? So how, when you work with clients, like what is one thing that you would do first thing if somebody says like, okay, I got 5 minutes, I gotta go, give me an intervention, let's go.
Yeah, you know, I'll just say, Astrid, I think podcasts and YouTube and the world is so full of like, here's a 5 minute hack to change the way you think, or here's a 2 minute hack to sleep better, to eat better, to dance better, to make love better. I just don't think any of that stuff works, which is why it keeps getting recycled. It's like the diet industry, you know? Here's a diet, you're going to be thin forever. Meanwhile, it's like one of the most most pumped up industries ever, where people are constantly losing, you know, copious amounts of time and money following different trends. I really think it's the old. I believe it's going to have to be a traditional method, and I feel it is an old. Like what I do with my clients, really, one of the things I love doing is doing foreign retreats. So
Oh,
I mean,
nice.
yeah, international retreats where you can take people out of the container they've been in for a long time and
Yeah.
put them in the midst of nature and beauty and open skies and the wide, beautiful ocean, and then take them into places of meditation and healing and recalibration. Magic happens way faster. Uh,
Nice.
yeah, and the results are very tangible. But I think
Nice.
that I wish I could say there was a magic pill I could produce and, you know, become a trillionaire, because I know everybody's going to want that magic pill to have more time and space. But it's actually it's actually active work that you have to do with your brain. You know, it
Yeah.
is harness
Yes.
the power of neuroplasticity and understanding that my brain will respond if I guide it accurately, properly,
Yeah.
you know, to live the reality that I want to live. And this just takes me real quick to this one concept that we've been studying in the master's program about time poverty.
Oh, interesting. Mm-hmm.
Like people are so wealthy, so many people will like work day in and day out, you know. And I understand the world is a very expensive place right now, and everyone has goals and desires and ambitions, and we must have those because that kind of fire is also healthy for us. But what has it rendered us to become as a human civilization? We feel like we're constantly time poor.
Mm.
And that's something that we bring, you know, attention to in my work, for instance. I really want to help people create moments and systems in their lives where they understand that you only have X amount of energy and X amount of hours in the day.
Mm-hmm.
We have to work with every individual according to their energy and according to the hours available to them. And that may mean a lot of things will have to be let go of. But then
Nice.
that's where the
Okay.
whole meditation and the positive psychology piece comes in, where, you know, you prime and you help people to be okay with,
Mm.
you know, making that adjustment
Nice.
at a deep level.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. So what I'm hearing you say is that a most powerful shift that you help people have is to take time off and actually go on a retreat and like just create a pause,
Yeah.
and that change can happen rapidly. And then that you also have training, coaching systems in place when people come back into their everyday life to then say like, okay, how do I sustain this? Is that how it happens?
And I think one of the most important disclaimers of this work is, well, be prepared to change.
Nice, nice, right? Yes.
You know, I know this quote is attributed to Einstein. I don't know if it's true, but he says that madness is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result.
Yeah.
So be prepared to change and be okay with that. But then you know that what you're gaining in the process is time, is energy, is focus, is your
Nice.
life, and the quality of your relationships.
I love this so much. So give me an example, because I know that when people hear it, you will change, and that can trigger a lot of resistance and people too, right? Like, because we're like comfortable in the discomfort and in the hustle or whatever it is, and like, oh, I can't change, I don't have time for change, and oh my God, another thing to do. Blah, blah, blah. So give us an example of somebody who went to a retreat, or who even just came to a yoga class with you or a private coaching session, of like, what did they gain? Like, what did you see the before and after? Can you give an example, or from your own life?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, in my experience, I'll tell you that all kinds of people walk into the doors of a yoga studio to take a yoga class, and my meditation technique is rooted in the tantra philosophy. So a
Mhm.
lot of my yoga classes are informed with tantric movement, which is very flowy, it's very feminine, it's very fluid. It kind of like keeps the synovial fluid in your bones and your tendons really, juicy. But what I find is a lot of people will be interested and they'll walk in, but the ones that have stayed with me over decades now, over more than 10 years, are the ones who were really committed to change, were really
Mhm.
committed. Or they had reached a point where they had reached a brick wall and they just knew that I can't continue being the same way anymore.
Yeah.
Something's going to give. And then there's a lot of people that just fall off the sidelines. They're just like, they come along for the ride because, they feel this is what they want to do because everybody else is doing it. But then when it comes to, when the rubber meets the road is when you know who's going to stay and who's going to go. But there's nothing I want to do to force that process on anyone.
Right. Yep. That doesn't work anyway, right? Yeah.
Yeah, that's not my calling and that's not my path. And I don't want to make what I do so exciting and seductive that everybody should want to be part of it. Not at all. I really do believe that when it's your time to change, our paths will cross and we will work together.
Yeah.
Um, because this work is not easy. It's not easy. It's not easy looking at yourself. It's not easy
It's,
holding a
mm,
mirror.
interesting. Okay. I'm bringing curiosity to the conversation. So I'm picking up on something that I saw you say in one of your podcasts, your own podcast episode on your YouTube. You had a really wonderful short celebration that actually gave an example of, like, you went to the yoga for the first time, and then or one of the first times, and you realized how happy it made you and how it boosted joy. And speak to that briefly. So, because that's a transformation that people will actually gain when they really lean into, right? It's not whatever we imagine as terrible things of change, but what you actually gain. So what did you gain in that moment where you felt like, oh, I'm doing this?
There's one thing, Astrid, that I feel has been the greatest gift that somehow I don't know. I maybe where I come from and whatever it's programmed inside me, and I'm grateful for it. But I am very conscious and aware of what feels good in my body.
Nice. Yes, the embodiment piece. Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
Because I think a lot of people, in fact, I know everyone has that wisdom. We all
Mhm,
came with that wisdom.
mhm.
But we are taught to doubt ourselves. We are taught to second guess ourselves. Like,
Mhm.
I'm probably not right, but that person who's having that experience is probably right, you know? But my experience, even though I'm feeling it, is probably, maybe it's not that right. I don't know why that is. Why are we trained to second guess and doubt ourselves? But for whatever reason, I have been very clear about how certain people, certain energies, certain experiences, certain conversations, certain books, certain restaurants just make me feel as I step in. And
Nice.
then I have a very strong tendency to trust my instinct. And actually,
Nice.
the meditation courses that I took and my mentor, Dr. Lauren Roche, his entire system of meditation is called instinctive meditation, which is informed by Tantra. Um, that process of studying with him for 14 years has really sharpened my instinct even more. So when I took that yoga class back then, and I was still new in the world of learning meditation or instinctive meditation, I just immediately felt so differently in my body.
Nice.
And mind you, at that time, I had no embodiment education.
Yeah.
I had gone to like school, college, corporate. But even so, I think just my nervous system spoke so loudly that day, and it just felt like, woof. Let's
Nice.
recalibrate. Whereas,
Nice.
when you're in the craziness of life and you're on the treadmill of life, when do you get a chance to recalibrate? No, it's just go, go, go. And
Whenever we take the chance, right? We take it. We always get them. But the question is, when do we take the chances, right?
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
But yeah.
And I
Yeah.
think
What I heard,
it's the pivot.
I'm sorry, say that one more time.
That moment was that moment was when I just knew I felt a certain way in my body that I had never felt before. I knew
Nice.
when I needed to pivot.
And how would you describe that feeling? Was it like just feeling better, or like give people a sense of it? Like, sell us the juiciness.
Yeah, this is maybe you won't be surprised by this, but truth be told, I think I was just overcome with a deep sadness. But it was a real
Mm.
sadness. It was not a sadness of loss. It was a sadness of reconnecting with an old friend that maybe I hadn't seen in a lifetime. And somewhere I had a deep desire to meet with that friend. And I think that class and that moment in time really made me reconnect with myself.
Nice.
It made me feel like, oh my God, I just totally have not had time for myself. I mean, self-care is like a fun word that gets bounced around, but going to a spa is not exactly all of self-care. But yeah, it just felt like I reconnected with myself, and that was the moment I knew that I needed
Nice.
to go deeper into that work.
Nice. And what I'm hearing from that, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but putting myself in your shoes, I imagine that you were there and you felt sadness at first because you're like, wow, I haven't really taken this time for myself, or I haven't been with myself for so long. My heart and soul is like, oh, I was here this whole time waiting for you to reconnect and just be present, right? But then you probably also felt relief of like, oh, yeah, there's this joy that's coming back to me. Is that right? Because I saw you mention in that short video where you talked about you felt peace and joy and like elated and all these things. Was that part of the package?
It was in the sense that when you have that overwhelming awareness that you've truly neglected
Mm.
yourself and your purpose and your
Wow.
desires and your journey, there is a rejoicing and a sadness at
Mm.
the same time.
I
It's like
understand.
all the emotions come together in this confluence where there's no grief. There's just like a love restored or a love
Yes.
found.
Love it. Wow. So that really sounds like a pivotal moment for you when you felt that in your body and also started to realize things, right? So if you think of your life before and after this moment, like how are they different?
Oh, wow. Yeah. I mean, I'd say I could trace an entire arc. I'm so grateful for where I am now in my head and in my body and in my nervous system. Of course, I continue to have the challenges of this human life,
We're human, yes.
those never go. That's just the constant nudge from the universe to let you know that you're alive and you still have to strive, which is what makes this journey interesting. But I just feel so grateful where anything difficult or an obstacle would arise in my life back then, and it could just derail me for days and days
Oh,
and
yeah.
even years. Now,
Yes. Yep.
it literally is like a flash of a moment, and I can recalibrate myself much fast. Sometimes I marvel at how quickly I'm back on track. But this is the gift of the work.
Yes. I love that you share this. Woo! Oh
Yeah,
my
and I
gosh.
must, and I have to reiterate, it's not that when you go this path or you study Spire Yoga or you work with me or you work with Astrid or you work with healers that you're never gonna feel pain in your life again.
No, no. That would be weird.
It's just your relationship with these things changes
Yes.
tremendously.
I want to do something funny real quick because there are these cool things in StreamYard that I haven't used yet, and like we can make an applause. Yes.
So cool.
Anyway, I really want to celebrate that you are in such a more empowered place. And I know you love speaking about empowerment and facilitating empowerment with your work, as you described to me before we met, right? So let me go back to one key question I want to ask first that gives a bigger perspective into seeing how things are interconnected. I know you talked mind, body, spirit. So from your perspective, body, mind, emotion, spirit, soul, how we like to talk about it in the Integrative Wellness Network, what, in your perspective, becomes possible when we address wellness in all the areas?
Magic. Possible. Manifestation becomes possible.
Oh,
Because integration, that word is so powerful, right? When do things not work? When are we at our lowest? When are we challenged by life? When we are fragmented.
oh
When
yeah, that's such a good wisdom. Yes.
we're in too many different places at the same time. I taught this workshop in New York City on the science of stress to my
Mm-hmm.
students. And the psychological definition, and even just the Webster definition of stress is, having too much to do and too little time to do it. That creates an environment in your body that makes you feel like, oh my God, the blood pressure spikes, the health is, you just start getting anxious, you start having panic attacks. But really, the stem of it is feeling like there's too much to do and too little time to do it. So I just feel that it's that fragmentation that doesn't allow forward movement or movement in any direction.
Mm-hmm.
And integrative wellness means wellness coming together. So, yeah, have a great diet. Make sure you sleep well. Make sure you exercise. Do your mantras. Do your meditation. Do your yoga. Go for your regular checkups at the doctors and all the stuff that you need to do, you know? And also, don't leave behind your emotional world and your
Yes.
spiritual world. You are so much more dynamic than just a to-do list.
Yes.
Than this
Yes.
being that has to like address this, like, I got to do this, I got to take care of this. Sure, we all have that, but you are so much more dynamic. You have memories, you have feelings, you have sorrows, you have grief, you have joy, you have
Yes.
tenderness, you have the ability to love, and it's constantly changing. It's
Mm-hmm.
constantly evolving. So when you give yourself that time and space and you work with all that you have and accept everything, you know, these things help you integrate yourself. This creates the alignment. I always feel the moment I take a student, when we're on a yoga mat, I'm like, mind, body, spirit, everything aligns here. And now
Mm-hmm.
what you wish for, what you pray for, what you're working towards is that much more powerful because the forces of mind, the forces of spirit, the forces of energy, the forces of soul, everything and the body combined together. You can move a mountain with your
Yeah.
intention if your intention is aligned. Um,
Yes. 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 That is so powerful. And I actually believe personally that um, in today's times, there's so much disruption happening also, right? In addition to the stress and like there in the world, there's a lot of wild things happening. And to use your word again, agency, I believe we always have access to our agency when we come to this moment where we feel our alignment. And I actually even personally, in my experience, how I feel it is I also find that joy is a piece that comes and is like one of our superpowers that comes back when we go into that alignment. We hear and find our joy again, or joy can lead us to this alignment, right? Like, how do you see that? And that it doesn't even take like a whole yoga session. Like I believe we can come to our alignment in a blink of an eye. And I've seen you do it. Like what comes up for you was your back perspective, and how can we do that? Like come to this alignment in all the craziness that's happening.
I think what my Sufi training has taught me, and I've been a student of mysticism also for the last 14 years in the Sufi tradition, um, And I think that one of the greatest teachings that I learned amongst many were how acceptance takes you very far in life. And joy comes from, I think joy comes from gratitude.
Mm,
All have our challenges. We all do. But to find gratitude even in the challenge, which
yes.
is sometimes a superhuman quality. It's hard to feel grateful for, all the obstacles, the challenges, the difficulties, personal or global or whatever. Um, but even in that understanding that perhaps a universe that is way older than we are and has been around much longer has its own system and has its own unique intelligence. And that if
Yeah.
you believe in a divine
Mhm.
being or creation or source, as we do in Sufism, you understand that it has its own organizing technology. And what may not be visible and understandable from our vantage point maybe making sense at a global greater, I mean, I should not say global, but I should say more like a universal scale. um, that said, we have to do what we have to do while we're here. you know if you are a political social activist and you want to stand up for injustice, never say, oh, that's just part of the universe and I don't have to do anything, I don't have to lift a finger. I think we have free will in how we move in this world and what impact we want to have. But at the same
Absolutely.
time, deep acceptance is also
Mm,
powerful in nurturing the seed of joy within. And if
mm,
you're joyful, wanting things to happen and wanting things to manifest becomes that much easier than if you're
yes,
unhappy or just feeling like a curmudgeon.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Boy, what a juicy conversation. I love it. And I love when you say gratitude to bring us back to our agency as one of the super tools. Like I've experienced that too. And I see it from my perspective as so I went through cancer, and a lot of listeners might have heard my story, but joy was like one of my focus points that actually helped me get my agency back in every moment because I chose it, right? Like I always walked around with that question, like, what will lead me to more joy next? And I also had this crazy moments where everything was happening at once, and I couldn't just. I was first trying to figure it all out, and it made me so stressed out, and I literally like paused and were like, whoa, I can't, I don't know, I can't, it's too hard, I can't do this. And then I had this epiphany moment that one time where I got this inner voice that said, Astrid, if you want to get well, you have to create wellness feelings. And that inner voice got me personally, of like disrupt the pattern. And then it was like, oh, yes, I do want more joy. Oh, yes, I do want to live. Right. And so then, because I was literally hitting a wall personally, sometimes those, like you say, gratitude for challenges, right? Like I found that was an opportunity for me to choose differently and say, like, oh, I can stay here at that wall and keep bumping against it and maybe not get well, right? And drive myself crazy and suppress my immune system and all the crazy things that happen with health with stress, or choose differently. And so I had this spiritual opportunity then to say, okay, I get to learn to trust myself. I get to choose joy, even if it doesn't make sense to my logical mind. And what I found also then, what turned into an embodiment practice for me was to choose joy in every step, right? And because I always had this curiosity, it also led me to things that help my body, right? Like sometimes it was, oh, just lay down, open the window and breathe, or oh, take a bath, and just take one step at a time. And that one step at a time, that allowed the craziness to be craziness. But that's why I capitalized cancer, CAN capitalized. I can always do something. We always have that moment, right? So I love that. Bringing it back to your example, gratitude can also snap us out flip us out of the mindset that we cannot do anything, but look at it in a different way. So what if I can be grateful for this crazy thing? And then, whoa, what can I do then? Right? Like different perspectives. So I'm sure you have all kinds of super tools in your studies too. And we could talk for a long time. I want to,
You're just living it. It's just so powerful. And you're such a powerful teacher by way of how you choose to live and what you choose to do. And I can't stress that enough, because you've been in there.
yeah.
And when the body wants to do its own thing. And there's like, oh, my healthy cell decided to turn against me. Oh my God, like, where do I even start? Right? It's like, it's such a profound journey. But then, to be there and to say, well, what is this trying to tell me? What do I need to lean into?
Yes, exactly.
Where can I listen to my body? And
yes.
Sign I need to listen to my body better. Oh gosh, that's just so powerful.
Yeah, I love that too. You too, right? Like, so thank you. And I love how you bring it back to the curiosity of what messages does the body have, and the embodiment, and like that reflection then gives, like, I always find curiosity also always snaps us out of the feeling we cannot do anything. We instantly become the scientists. We instantly become the Harvard students, or you did that when you were there, right? Like, oh, what if I study something entirely different? What else is possible, right? And so suddenly you see possibility again because you look for it instead of just here. Yeah. I want to bring a practical piece that I saw you do before we started the call. I love how we started our conversation, because you're role modeling, navigating very busy life. And you came to the call and you're like, oh, you're in the middle of launching something. So much is going on. And you used the word manic. So much is happening. And then you took 1 minute or 2 minutes and did something really cool. I saw you do that. Do you want to describe that for listeners?
I try to stay, sure. I try to stay very close to what my mentors have taught me. I always feel I don't really know anything. I'm just a lifelong student. I just got really lucky. I feel like I have some beautiful mentors, but one of the things I remember that my meditation mentor taught me was, sing what your body loves, what you love, sing it through your body. And that just means just feel it, embrace it, embody it, receive it. And whatever your mantra is for today, whatever you want to feel, be it joy, be it peace, be it space, be it time, be it quiet, be it solitude, be it friends, be it mirth. Truly let your body dance that mantra. And as we were talking about it, you said, yeah, you could even actually dance. Yeah, you could, absolutely.
Yeah.
If that's what the call is and you just want to dance, go for it. If you want to write about it, if you want to paint about it, you want to walk outside with the thought, take it with you. And you know how and this just came to my mind right now, how we have a bite of a really delicious meal or a delicious something that we really savor it could be a beverage, or it could be a meal, or it could be, there you go, or a piece of dark chocolate or anything.
Yes.
We really take it, and we really want to feel its texture, and really the sublime, notes that you feel on your palate, and you're like, oh, I'm in so much joy. Similarly, that feeling that you can get from your mantra, your word today, just savoring it with your whole body.
Nice.
It's like a very powerful doorway to embodiment.
Yes.
Experience.
Yes. Oh my gosh, that could be a whole other conversation. But I do want to say, like, how this spoke to me personally. When you said sing it through your body, I I instantly, first of all, like, I was like, oh, I can sway this. Like, what do I want right now? And singing it through my body makes me totally shift my focus from frazzle to focusing on the thing you want. And also you come into imagination a little bit, and you actually, you direct your mind to feel in your body. How does it feel? You give yourself a moment of joy. And I know that there's so many powerful things that happen when we do that. If you put your scientist hat on and everything you learned in Harvard and in your happiness academy and behavioral psychology, what do you think happens when we take this moment of dance what we want and sing to it, or however you worded it, sing it through our body? What happens to give people a perspective, like body, mind, emotion, spirit, soul? What goodness are we actually giving ourselves when we do that?
I want to take the study of neuroplasticity and bring that into this to answer this question. When we feel joy, when we experience joy, obviously it lends a myriad of colors. We feel different things. We feel, oh, I'm relaxed, I'm happy, I feel I can do this, I've got this, and you're really soaking it in.
Yes.
And if you create more of those moments in your life where you take a walk, look at a flower, stop, pause, absorb, look at the color of the sky. Like, you don't have to sit on a plane and take a very expensive vacation to feel joy. Sometimes people do that and still not feel joy at their destination. But if you cultivate that mindset where wherever you are, you look for the things that please you and bring you peace, and the ones that are working for you, you start creating a habit of noticing those things. That's when the grooves in your brain start to transform and shift.
Yes, I love it. See, I think that's what happened for me, because I made it a practice to constantly ask myself the same question: what will lead me to more joy? What will lead me to more joy? So I practiced it on all the levels, and I probably rewired my brain by doing that.
Absolutely. And I mean, there's enough evidence. Like, there was a physicist, Lester Levinson, who was given a very deadly diagnosis. I think this was the 1940s. And he was told, you've just had a second massive heart attack. Now go home. We're not going to get out of this. You have a couple of months to live. And he went home, and because he was a physicist and a scientist, he sat and thought about what he could do himself to change the way his life was going, the direction his life was. And he started noticing the people that he thought he hated in his life or had caused a lot of strife and grief. And he went through a practice of replacing the emotion of hate or negativity towards those people with feelings of love.
Wow, what a story.
That's a huge ask, right? When you're feeling like someone's, snubbed you or been a certain way with you, and you just feel reactive towards them. But to say, no, hang on, let me emit, vibration of love over here where I'm feeling all this negativity. And in fact, what ended up happening was, instead of 2 months to live, he ended up living, like, I believe, I could be wrong about this, but at least a decade more. But it was certainly years more than what the doctor had said. So there is all this scientific evidence. We know that for a fact. Amy Cuddy's research, all the work that Ellen Langer has done, has constantly proved the power of the mind. Bruce Lipton talks about epigenetics.
Right. Yep.
Joe Dispenza is a doctor too, right? So they've done this research, and they've all come to this conclusion through their own personal experiences. Now, at Spire Yoga, the anatomy that we're teaching, for instance, is by Lee Albert. It's called Integrated Positional Therapy. And he himself had been in a very severe accident from which he healed himself through modalities, which we're teaching in Inspire Yoga. So these are all tried and tested things that, researchers have undertaken. So yes, you can put on your, academic hat and find parallels to your spirituality in the world of science. But I will say the world of science is catching up to
Thank
spiritual.
goodness. Yes.
So,
Yes.
yeah, we have a tendency in the Western world and now in most of the world to really, trust more what the evidence and what the metrics show. But there's a lot of research we're still doing on things that spirituality has proclaimed a while ago.
I know. Or like freaking like thousands of years ago, right? It was like, oh yeah, they already did that in ancient cultures, and now we're discovering quantum. What?
Exactly.
All of those things. Oh my gosh, so amazing. So we have been talking quite a while, so I do want to give you the stage to share a bit more of what do you have cooking right now. I know you mentioned the happiness. Oh my gosh, I took so many cool notes from all of your happiness academy. You have a joy is intimacy, is intimacy with life, and like tell us more. And I'm giving your website as a background. What do people find when they come into your world?
Well, thank you so much, Astrid. Well, the first and foremost, there's this yoga program that we're teaching through the Happiness Studies Academy, which is called the Spire Yoga Program. In fact, our next cohort is starting April 21st. So if you're interested in healing and wellness, please check it out. It's on my website. It's also on happinessstudies.academy's website. The other thing is that I do enjoy working with leaders, corporations, and organizations. And
Nice.
I do bring not just what a coach would bring via organizational psychology to an institute or a firm, but also a lot of what I've learned through yoga and through meditation. I bring a lot of ancient wisdom as well as a lot of scientific research, and I work with leaders and I enjoy working with teams. Additionally, the product that you just mentioned, Joy is Intimacy with Life, it's also in its final stages of being refurbished and being offered. But that is really about living more sensually, about living more in touch with your senses
Nice.
and expanding time. Yeah.
Oh, there comes that time again. I love it. Expanding time. That's an amazing hook for many people who feel they run out of time on all those crazy thoughts that we can have. Wow. That's amazing. So, one last word of wisdom that you would love to give to wellness seekers if they want to bring more wellness or joy or both into their lives from your perspective.
I think that I feel rather, as you were saying those words, like I have a tendency to map my body when I hear words. So I feel resonance in parts of my body. And I really felt it a lot in my heart. And it just makes me think that, or makes me feel that, I'd like to just share with people to remember to come back to your heart.
Nice, nice. I love this. Yes.
The mind is so fantastic and beautiful and wise and has so many great plans and strategies, and it has its place, but so does the heart, and so does the gut, and so do your emotions. Like there's so much more to listen to below the neck as well. So lean into that as well as you navigate life.
I love it. And people can sing to their song of what they want and take that together. And
Really a mantra in your body. Don't just, that's why affirmations never really worked for me, because I felt affirmations were just like a very intellectual process. I just repeat the word in my head and I repeat through my mouth. But am I really feeling it in my body? Sometimes there was a disconnect. So that's why I think movement and breathing while you're moving, as we do in yoga, is really a very powerful game changer. Yeah.
Yes, I love it. Thank you so much for your time, for having shared your wisdom with us, part of your journey. I know there's a lot more to explore on your website. I'm giving everything to everybody below this video. Follow Tania Kazi and go check out her amazing work. And also look at what we're doing with the Integrative Wellness Network. We have a free community that you will see for wellness, where you can practice wellness, you can get inspired, and you can find amazing professionals like Tania Kazi to complement your wellness, body, mind, emotion, spirit, soul, joy, everything, to really come back to your center. So thank you so much. It was such a pleasure and honor.
Thank you for all that you do, Astrid. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for watching or listening. Question: what did this spark in you today? Take one baby step and act on it. One small step can change your world and will ripple to others. The world really needs more sparkle. If you like more inspiration like this, come join us in our free Integrative Wellness Oasis on School. We are an amazing community of wellness lovers and professionals where you get to discover new ideas, resources, and also really cool virtual retreats. We love going on virtual cruises too. If you loved this episode, please share it with someone who might love this inspiration as well. Until next time, keep exploring and follow the sparkle.